Happy Friday, everyone. You're tuned in to CircuitsFM Live. I'm your host, the Circuit Master. It's great to be back with you this evening. I hope you all had a wonderful week. I see the hold on one second. There we go. Sorry, I had a lot of windows open, so I started hearing some feedback. We are live tonight on X, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, and Twitch. So I am figuring this out as we go. Let me throw up some. Here we go. CircuitsFM, come to us. Something. I'll have to take a look at that later. I don't know what that means, but thank you for joining us this evening. That is from over on Kick. See, Julie says hi, Joy. Well, welcome everyone. All right. Before we get started, little house cleaning, few little notes here while everyone gets comfortable. We're live every Friday night here at 8 p.m. Central Time. Like I said, on YouTube, X, Rumble, now Twitch, and Kick. I will jump into those chats here in a couple minutes. New albums premiere Mondays at 8 Central. We're going back to 8. You'll see here in a second why that is. We're gonna be live. Let's see here. I'm gonna post shorts on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central Time because I've been posting shorts on Tuesdays as well. Singles on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central Time. Of course, some of you were in the room last night when I premiered a Vault Log, an EP that was for channel members, but the chat was open to channel members and mods. Sometimes it'll be open to subscribers as well. That was last night at 8 o'clock. And of course, we are here tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time as well. I want to say thank you to my channel members for your continued support. I appreciate you. Thank you for being a channel member, and thank you to Kim T. She has now been a channel member for just over 6 months, so I appreciate her. All right, I'm gonna get to some chats here while we get going. Here in a couple minutes. Julie, good to see you. Good evening. RJ's in the room. Hello. How are you doing? Let's see here. Chuck is in the room. Hello. I wish we had the bot, but I am streaming through Restream tonight. So you get the bot when I stream through OBS. It's cool because I set up a bunch of stuff for everyone to interact with, but now we don't have access to it. But I'm going to figure something out. There's another bot that I can use. Hello, Ari. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. It's good to see everyone. Yeah. RJ already tried it. iJar. Yep, that's right. Exactly. Yeah, the bot won't respond right now. I did talk to Restream about that, and they said they're going to try to figure that out and make that happen sooner than later. So, yeah, hopefully we'll start sooner. Okay, let's jump into it for tonight. Tonight we start at the beginning. Set 1 is a synthwave journey. The first transmission from the CircuitsFM archive, a lone pilot and her cybernetic cat chasing a mythic signal across the analog galaxy. Set 2 is the Outpost on Europa 9, the first stop on the galactic tour, a sanctuary on Jupiter's frozen moon where travelers pause between voyages. Set 3 is Last Ark 2187, the final ship humanity ever launched, carrying 10,000 souls across 4 generations toward a new world. The first signal, the Outpost, Covenant. Tonight's signal takes us into the solar system and beyond. It's going to be a very chill evening. Hope you enjoy it. So just kick back and relax. I have about 60 minutes of music for you this evening. It's going to range a little bit. It's going to be a little bit more laid back than usual tonight. So here we go. Here's the first story. The original signal from the CircuitsFM archive. Before the Arks, before the Outpost, there was a lone pilot and her cybernetic cat chasing a mythic frequency through the analog galaxy. The first transmission, the signal that started everything. By the way, this is the first album that I published here on CircuitsFM. We're returning to where the signal first broke, through the noise. This is a synthwave journey, the original transmission from our archives. Before we found the Arks, before we reached the Outpost, there was just a lone pilot, a cybernetic cat, a mythic frequency drifting through the analog galaxy. We're decoding the first chapters of that voyage tonight. Tell me in the chat, if you were drifting alone in the deep black, what's the one Earth frequency you'd hope to catch? Stay tuned. This is a synthwave journey. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. That was a Synthwave journey. That was the first album that I published on YouTube. That's CircuitsFM. That was the first one. Then that was about 9 months ago. So May 26th of 2025. Of course, we're coming up to the 1 year for CircuitsFM. And I am still thinking about what I'm going to do for the 1 year. And so that is currently in the thinking process for that one. Julie says, excellent drop. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Julie. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate it. Means a lot to me. I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. It's going to be very chill tonight. By the way, I found my culprit earlier. As I was speaking, I started hearing myself in my headset with a slight delay. And that is coming from over on Kick, because every once in a while it goes off mute, and I'm not sure why it's doing that. So I have to look at Kick. Had to for the first few times it was kind of like trying to figure out where it was coming from. Does it have like 10 windows open? But then as soon as I figured out that it was Kick doing it like every 3 or 4 minutes, and it's like, okay, I know where that's coming from. So anyway, let's see here. Let me get back here to the chats here. Totally not RJ. He's not RJ. He's totally not RJ. So damn, I bet it was awesome too. I'll have to go back and rewatch it later. Yes. That's a great point. You can find if you're on YouTube, if you go to the live tab, you can listen to all the previous Circuits FM live episodes. They're right in there. In addition, I created playlists for the Circuits FM live seasons. And so if you just scroll down a little bit on the front page of YouTube, you can find all the episodes there as well. They are not all uploaded to Rumble yet. Of course, Rumble has a very different layout than YouTube. YouTube's nice because you can basically organize everything and make everything really easy to find. Twitch and Kick are not like that. They're basically pure streaming platforms. And of course, X is not built like that. And so if you want access to everything I've created so far, YouTube would be the place to go at the moment. Chuck says you did a great job. Well, thank you, Chuck. Everyone, thank you for being here. Let's see. Build the mansions in the house. How is everyone doing tonight? We are doing well. I hope you are doing well. Hope you had a good week. I really enjoy Fridays. Let's see here. Harry shows hearts. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Means a lot. All right. That was the longest set of the evening. That was about 25 minutes. By the way, all of these I edit down into EPs, and then these become vault logs for my channel members. So my channel members get access to all of these 1 to 2 per week, depending on if I release a channel member album as well. That's what we had last night. And so what I'm going to do, what I did last night, I know a couple of you weren't finished listening to it last night, and I went ahead and converted it over to channel members. So I'm going to do in the next ones, I'll leave it open for a little bit so you can listen to it, and then I will switch it over to channel members after the premiere on Thursdays for you. Let's see here. All right, let's jump into set 2. The first stop on the Galactic Tour, a sanctuary on Jupiter's frozen moon. Travelers pause between long-haul voyages, watching the gas giant storm swirl through ice-frosted windows, savoring the warmth of fresh brewed coffee in the cold vastness of space. Like I said, this is going to be very chill tonight, and it's going to involve some coffee. By the way, if you have coffee, if you're nothing wrong with drinking coffee right now. Of course, if you want to go to sleep, that's probably a bit of a problem. But like I said, if we were doing these Saturday mornings, we talked about that a couple episodes ago. If we're doing these Saturday mornings, the coffee would be perfect for it. All right, let's jump into this second set. Scan the horizon for the glow of Jupiter's storms. We're docking at the first stop of the galactic tour, the Europa Outpost. It's a moment of silence between long-haul voyages, a sanctuary of cosmic ambient synthwave, where the coffee is hot and the view of the gas giant never ends. Take a seat by the frost-covered window and let the gravity settle. How do you take your coffee at the edge of the solar system? Black as a black hole or glowing with neon cream? Stay tuned. This is the Outpost on Europa 9. gentlemen, I hope you are doing well. Hope you enjoyed that 15 minutes of more laid back ambient synthwave. Of course, with all of these albums, I will put those in the YouTube description after this, so you'll have access to those. Real quick, we are, of course, live over on Kick and Twitch as well. I want to say welcome to the viewers over there. We're live on Rumble. Of course, we're live on X, and we are live on YouTube. Want to take a quick break or just a quick moment to say thank you to my channel members, my VHS Vault members, Kim, Shadow, Reno Man, Steve, Eric, and Howard. I appreciate your support, and I want to say thank you to my Cassette Rebel members as well. Of course, Julie is in the chat with us, so thank you, Julie. I appreciate you being here this evening. Let's get to a couple of comments. Julie says, yeah, I'll take my coffee fully loaded. Yep. Yeah. I have this hypothesis that it's kind of like my theory that the best coffee you can get is at a gas station. People always give me a weird look when I say that because they think Starbucks or something like that. Let's see here. So, yeah. I said earlier, Synthwave Sugar does sound good. Chuck replies with, of course. Sounds like it could get me into a lot of kinds of trouble. Yeah, I guess that depends on how you take that. Could be something like that. I was thinking of when you said that, I was thinking of a Dave Chappelle bit, and that gif from that bit. You probably know which one I'm talking about. Let's see here. Build the Mansion says, I'm drinking coffee with my neighbor early tomorrow morning. Very interesting, dude. Yeah, have fun with that. I enjoy those early Saturday morning. Let's sit down, drink some coffee, and talk about stuff. I enjoy those meetings, conversations. I guess they're not meetings. It's more of just like hang out type of stuff. Let's see here. Of course, Chuck says, I must have said a no word. What? Yeah. Nah, you're good, man. Cece, good evening. How are you doing? Welcome. I appreciate you. Thank you for being a supporter. Thank you for being with us here in the chat tonight. Let's see here. Bill Dimension says, listen to your Alien tracks the other morning. Some killer metal hybrid vibes going on. Yeah, that was that's probably the hardest of any of my albums is that Aliens 1986 album. It's probably the hardest stuff I have. Definitely metal, Outrun. If you could tell, it's still got that mix of synthwave in it, but yeah, definitely much more on the harder side. Of course, I have you'll notice I throw guitars in the music every so often, and there's a reason for that, which will happen at some point next year. It'll be a reason. There's a reason behind that, besides the fact that I just like guitars. But yeah, I fit it in when it makes sense. Let's see here. But yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I try to, obviously on my channel, I have a little bit of, I've been focusing definitely more on the dark synthwave, and not dark as in horror, but just more darker progressions, more like what you would hear in like prog rock or something like that. A lot more minor keys. Every once in a while, I'll throw in a major key there, just to kind of lift the mood a little bit. But definitely exploring some more of those, or more of those uh, uh, darker ambiance, darker type of feelings within the storylines. But I could see myself in the next few albums doing stuff that's a little bit lighter, for sure. It's not always going to be dark. Got to throw in a little bit of variety, like we just had tonight. It's nice. That stuff's nice. Just change it up every once in a while. But we'll definitely stay with Synthwave. We're not going outside Synthwave, for sure. So let's get to part 3 here. Last Ark 2187. Earth is dead. One vessel remains. 10,000 souls sealed in cryo. 4 generations, 1 covenant. Reached a new world, or humanity ends forever. A sonic record of the hope of departure, the silence of deep sleep, the crisis of the drift, and the fragile possibility of arrival. Which obviously is a bit different from drinking coffee. So yeah, that's a bit of a change. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Earth is a ghost. All that remains is the covenant. We are tracking the Last Ark 2187 as it carries 10,000 souls in cryosleep across the centuries. From the hope of departure to the silence of the long drift, this is the sonic record of 4 generations fighting to reach a new world. We're entering Act 1, the departure. If you were on the Ark, which generation would you want to be? The ones who saw Earth fade, or the ones who see the new sun rise? Stay tuned. This is Last Ark 2187. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That was Last Ark 2187. Thank you again for being here this evening. Let's see here. There you put in some hearts and a skull. Cool. Let's see here. Black Spire is in the chat over on YouTube. Good to see you, Black Spire. Thank you for being here. It's great to see you again. Black Spire also says, late again. No, fashionably late. You're fashionably late. You are fashionably late, for sure. All right. So tonight we had 3 albums, 3 stages of humanity's reach into the cosmos. The Signal, the Outpost, the Covenant. The Ark moves from individual pursuit, set 1, to communal, sanctuary, set 2, to civilizational survival, set 3. The thread connecting all 3 sets, the mythical Signal. The pilot chased it. The Outpost was built on route it charted. The Ark followed it into the deep black. Last Ark 2187 features the Ark theme, a recurring hymn that transforms across 4 generations. And you can hear that, of course, in the entire album over on YouTube. So if you want to listen to all 3 albums, they are currently, well, they will not currently, but they will be over on YouTube for sure. Let's see here real quick. Eric, good to see you. Thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for being a channel member. I appreciate it. So yeah, they're all over there. By the way, after I'm done with this, I will be putting those in the description below. And of course, I do need to go back and update the track times as well in this one in the last couple episodes. And of course, these get edited down into EPs for my channel members. So you get that 30-second intro plus the 4 tracks as well. And that's not including channel member albums. So I don't have one this Saturday, but I have another one coming out a week from tomorrow. So join me for that. And of course, on Mondays, 8 p.m. Central Time, premiere a new album. Eric says, forgive me, I'm the Enter Drink guy. Also, hi, I love all the new content. Keep it coming. Will do. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. I see Joy is in the chat as well. Hello, Joy. Thank you for being here. Yeah. So Mondays, 8 p.m. Central Time, premiere. Tuesdays, I release a short at 8 p.m. Wednesdays, I release a single at 8 p.m. And then, of course, on Thursdays, I had the EP drop last night. That was a channel member's a video, but it was public, so you can watch it publicly. And, of course, that chat was for channel members and mods. Of course, that will change from time to time. Sometimes it'll be open. Sometimes it'll be for subscribers. So that's the weekly schedule. And, of course, we're back here on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time for CircuitsFM live. So I appreciate you. How did it go tonight for everyone? Just nice and chill? Got able to relax? Redwood Design says, hello, I am late too. Wah, 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 wah. It's a wah, wah pedal. It's a wah, wah pedal. Wah, 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 wah. Right? That's old school stuff right there. Let's see here. Let me go back up here. Let me throw a few more. Oh, yeah, I put up, if you saw me earlier, I don't think this is going to show. Yeah, the Rickroll. You have the Rickrolls over on Rumble. That's what I like about Rumble is you have the GIFs over on Rumble. Fortunately, when I put it up on the screen here, it just says Rickroll. But yeah, that's the Rumble. If you saw it earlier, it actually does show in the chat on the screen, just not if I post or if I bring it up as a main chat, then it doesn't show. But it's pretty cool stuff. It'd be nice if YouTube had something like that. GR says nice and chill. Yeah, cool. Very cool. Glad you're here. Glad everyone was here tonight. It's good times. I like these. Like I said, I think probably said that a million times, right? Oh, this is a good question. Who's your first guitar? BC Rich. I named her Tina. I named her Tina. She was black with hot pink stripes. She had a hot pink stripe up on. Man, I should have kept her. I don't know. I can't remember the reason why I sold her. I remember that, but I can't remember the reason why I sold her. But yeah, there's a BC Rich black. So it had two hot pink stripes, one on the bottom, one on the top. And yeah, I learned a lot of songs on her. And then my second guitar was a Kramer. I purchased a Kramer. That was my mother's guitar player's guitar. And he sold it to me. And then I've had a couple Ibanez's since then. I have an Ibanez right now. My collection right now is a Kramer, an Ibanez, and a Jackson. And I have a classical acoustic as well. And I've been looking at new acoustics, a classical guitar. Probably not in Tina Turner. It says Tina Turner. Tina Turner. Maybe. It's possible. I named it after. I don't remember why I named her Tina. I honestly don't remember why I named her Tina. Somebody told me you need to name your first guitar. And that was the name. That's probably the name that popped into my head. To be honest with you, I don't actually think I've named any of my other guitars. It's just I just named her. Honestly. But yeah, I haven't thought about her in a while. I have not thought about her in a while. But every once in a while, I kind of wonder what happened to her. It's one of those things where I think back, it's like, man, maybe I should have just kept it. But young guy, you do things. 6 strings. I've always played 6 strings. Despite growing up listening to John Petrucci of Dream Theater, I've always been into 6 strings. I have played 12 strings, acoustic guitars, 12 strings. I've played those. It's a little different. But yeah, I don't know, 7 strings. I've seen the 8 strings. 8 strings look interesting. What's that band? Animals? They have 2 guitar players or 2. Those guys both play 8 strings, and they don't have a bass player, but their drummer's crazy. CFMN Books is my Friday night. Sweet. What are you reading right now, Cece? You read a lot. I see your posts over on X. You read quite a bit. I have a lot of books. It's funny when so right now, so a lot of you know this. I work as an engineer, as a professional engineer in industry, and I have that, and I'm doing this on the side, and this takes a lot of time, as you know. Like a couple of you have asked me, like, "Hey, Doc, don't you have a life?" And besides this, the gym and work. Anyway, previous to this, I had a startup which didn't turn out very well. The business model was wrong. I look back now, it's like I just didn't have the business model right. Anyways, I read a lot as an entrepreneur. I read a lot. I've actually been an entrepreneur a couple times, and I read a lot. I just, for whatever reason now, don't have, you don't want to hear me say this. I don't have a lot of time to read, because that's not a good excuse. That's a terrible excuse. But yeah, reading is one of those things where I just don't read as much as I used to with everything going on. And I have a lot of books, as I have a lot of reading to catch up on. There's a lot of books I want to read, but I usually read a lot of books on psychology and philosophy and stuff like that outside of work. Sometimes I'll get more into technical stuff, and I try to keep up. Well, I haven't done it in a while because I kind of do it at work, but keeping up my math skills. So I'll pull out books on proofs and things like that and try to go through that stuff. Anyway, that stuff could bring a party down pretty quick. If you start talking about mathematical proofs at a party, that'll just ruin the conversation right there. So I first started in school, I started anthropology. I studied anthropology, and like you could walk into a party and talk to a bunch of people and talk about anthropology. Everyone's into it. And what I noticed when I was studying math as an undergrad, it's like math is the opposite. You walk into a party, start talking to people, that's it. Conversation's done. Working on my way through Joe Abercrombie stuff. Cool. Absolutely. Yeah, Eric says it's like flexing a muscle. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like going to the gym. So we've listened. I don't talk about. I mean, this is a show about synthwave and music and stuff like that. So I won't talk too much about books. But if you ever read any of Scott Adams stuff, he talks about systems over goals, and basically like it's just a habit. Right. It's like you said, Eric, it's that you're flexing that muscle, but it becomes a habit. So even if you just do it for 20 minutes a day, you just get yourself into that repetitive habit, and you'll just do it for 20 minutes. That's just a part of it. So yeah, I'm coming up with super lame excuses for why I'm not reading as much, for sure. CC says psychology, philosophy, poetry, currently reading 6 books. Yeah. Hawkins. Tim Green? Yeah, I've read Robert Greene's books. 48 Laws of Power. That got me into a lot of stuff. Boy, that's off topic from synthwave stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, so psychology and philosophy can just help with everything. My first base was Bob Washburn. That's cool. Bob. Yeah, that would be a name of a base, Bob. That's cool. That's very cool. Let's see here. Rumi Green. Okay, I can listen to you talk anthropology and mathematics anywhere. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I really do. They're surprised at work because I'll pull in math to do stuff where they just don't think it's possible. Like I'm using math for technical documentation and stuff like that, and they're looking at me like I'm weird, but it really works. It's a great tool to have. Let's see. Eric says you're up on me. I can't handle nonfiction. Yeah, I've jumped into Stephen King books, but of course, Stephen King, it takes like half the book to get going. So, because here's the thing about Stephen, his books are long, but they're really good at building the world. That's what I really appreciate about him. He just builds that world, and usually there's a good payoff. But yeah, those are his books for sure. Bill Dimension says, yeah, my dad is very gifted at math. Cool. Did he study math, I assume, in school? Usually that's what happens. They get a hold of you. Oh, you know a little bit of math. They grab onto you and they don't like to let go. I've seen that. I'm good at it. There were some people in my classes that were just on another level. Math as an abstract language. Yeah, it is. It is indeed. Well, I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here tonight. I truly appreciate it. Again, we're here I'm here. Well, we are here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. Of course, all of you and myself. Okay, I'll get one more. We're talking about this now. Read Sell by SK. I have to jot that down. There we go. We got a list of books. Coming up with a list of books for people to read on CircuitsFM Live. Yeah, we talked, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about sci-fi, right? We ended up talking about SG-1, Stargate SG-1. We talked about Pitch Black. I don't know if anybody here ended up watching Pitch Black. It's a great movie. Great sci-fi movie, late 90s. Didn't do very well in the theaters. Ended up becoming a cult classic. It's good stuff. It's a follow-up. Let's see here. Yeah, he worked for Aerospace Human Calculator Genius. So yeah, that's usually what happens. So Cell by SK, that's a scary book, huh? Interesting. Yeah, by the way, if you could always go back in the show and jot down those books to read. Let's see here. Eric says William Gibson Bridge Trilogy. Interesting. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and write all these down. For sure. Yeah, early Vin. Eric says early Vin. Yeah. Cool. All right. I just want to say thank you again to everyone for being here. I appreciate it. Again, next Friday, 8 p.m. Central Time. I am going to now take us out with the final monologue. We started with the first signal, a lone pilot chasing a mythic frequency through the analog galaxy. Before the Arks, before the Europa Outpost, Jupiter's frozen moon, the coffee, of course, storms on the horizon. We followed the Covenant, the last ship humanity ever launched, carrying 4 generations toward a new world. The first signal, the Outpost, the Covenant. Tonight, the signal took us out into the solar system and beyond. Until the next transmission, time travelers. The Circuit Master signing off.